Hello folks. What we're going to do today is teaching the place on the light line. This is a phase 2 exercise. What the purpose of this exercise is we want to teach the dog to actually move a distance from you to a designated place and do a downstay once the dog gets there. So the first thing we need to do in order to do this exercise is for you to be comfortable handling the light line. I like to use a very, thin nylon light line. This one's 50 foot long. Before we even start, just really quick, just to give you a little bit of a warning. These things could be very dangerous because they're so long and so thin. Whenever you are using this, don't have any children around, and also be aware of where it is at all times, because this thing gets wrapped around your ankle and the dog takes off. You could really hurt yourself bad. I got a scar in my ankle, and I know someone else who broke their ankle because it got wrapped around their ankle. So just be very, very careful. It's best actually done in an enclosed area, this exercise, where the dog's really not going to be taken off and knock you off of your feet. So helping with this exercise is Steve Kessler from Real Deal Dog Training, based out of Brooklyn. You want to peek down and say hi for a second there, Steve? All right. So what we're going to do now is show how to use the light line. Now, when you are using the light line on the dog, because we need to use this for this exercise, first thing is always make sure the area between you and the dog is always off the ground. If not, the dog will get tangled up. The rest of the light line, just be aware of where it is at all times. Don't get it tangled on your feet. Now, there's 4 things you want to know how to do before we even use it in the exercise. You do want to know how to hold the leash properly, which is generally, we just like to let it float over the top of our palms, like how Steve has it. Now, when he's holding it like this, if he moves away from me, the dog, or if I move away from him, he just lets the leash just glide over the top of his hand. So watch Steve go all the way to the other side of the room. He's just letting it glide. He keeps it off the floor the whole time. So when it's like this, I can't get tangled. I won't step over it and get tangled. And since he's letting it glide really smooth, I don't really feel tension on the leash at all. I barely even notice that it is on me. If he's going to return to me, the best way for him to do it is as he's stepping up with his feet, he's going to step up with his arms the same way and kind of go hand over hand with the light line as he returns. Okay, so he can do that, pretty quickly. So watch him slide back out. Good, and watch him come back nice and quick. He walks up with his hands the same as his legs. So that's a quick way to get back and to keep the leash off the ground. The third thing he has to know how to do is how to gather up the light line if I'm coming towards him. If I'm coming towards him, what he would do is he would actually back up with his legs, but step forward with his arms. So watch how this happens. He's gonna go back to about to the middle of the room right there. And as I return to him, watch, he's gonna step backwards with his legs, but move forward with his arms. Okay, watch what he's doing. Good. All right. And now I return back to the camera. He lets it slide out. He returns to me, steps forward with legs and arms. Good. I come towards him. He's going to back up with his legs, forward with his arms. Good. Forward with his arms. Good. There you go. Good. And now it doesn't matter where I walk around the room now. He's going to be able to keep the leash off the ground just using these techniques. All right. Good. Slides. He could come towards me. Come towards me now. So it's really not that difficult. It's almost common sense, but if you don't practice it, you'll find yourself getting tangled with the dog before you even start the exercise. So what we're going to do in this exercise is I'm going to go lay on the placemat over there, and Steve's going to direct me there. Now, when we're doing this exercise, you do the same chain reaction of commands we do with everything else. If you worked on the come before this, you're going to see that this is almost very similar to the come. It's kind of like the polar opposite to the come. Instead, we're sending the dog away instead of the dog coming to us. And when the dog gets on the mat, we want the dog to lay down instead of the dog sitting. Now, when he sends me to the mat and I do lay down on the mat, notice he's not going to repeat my name again. That's because this is something we're going to want the dog to do automatically after a while. So it's part of the command. The dog's not finished with the command until the dog goes down on the mat. So when he sends me to the mat, he'll tell me down, and if I don't go down, he'll just say no, down, and then correct me in the down properly. And he won't praise me until I'm actually finished in the down, because that means the exercise is finished at that point. So to start off, the first step is we're going to do a real easy one. Since I never really heard the word place before, he's actually going to lead me right over to the mat. He's going to look and point at the mat and say Mike place, and just do it super easy. Lead me onto it, and then he's going to tell me down when I get to it, and he's just going to give me a treat. Make it super, super easy, the first one.
Mike, place.
Good. So over this way.
Down. Good boy.
Good. And then you free me up and you give me a goodie.
Mike, free.
Good. All right. Oh man.
Here. Dropped your treat.
All right. Give me my treat. Okay.
See
So
how easily this can get tangled?
yeah, I think we get easily tangled. So that's how we do one of the first ones. Now what he's going to do is he's going to use his step, look, and point like we do on the climb. The dog should already be familiar with directional stuff. And right from there, he's going to say Mike, place, and he's going to step, look, and point. Now, this is very, very similar to the climb, except he's using the light line. Now, if I don't go, he's just going to say no, place, and then give a little pop with the light line as he looks and points over to the, to the mat. So let's see how that goes.
Mike, place. No, place. Good boy. Early on my good boy.
Good.
Down. Good boy. Free.
Good. Okay.
I was early on my place. Early on my praise there.
Early on the praise, and you know what?
But I was happy to see you go that first time.
And use your judgment. It's not. I mean, some dogs actually, when they start going over there, you can praise them, and it can help them out. Other dogs, when you praise them too early, they turn around and get distracted. Sometimes there's a little bit of a judgment call there. Neither way is really right or wrong. Majority of the dogs, I think, do a little bit better if you wait until you praise them, until they actually get on, until they lay down on the mat and actually finish it there. Now, this next one, what's going to happen is he's going to tell me Mike place, and I'm going to start going to it, but then I'm going to actually veer off and not finish going to it. At that point, kind of just like a come or any other command that the dog doesn't finish, he's going to give one no, and then if I don't go back on the word no towards the mat, he's going to just repeat the word place and just give me one little pop towards the mat. Okay?
Mike, place. No, place. Down. Good boy. Mike, free.
All right. Pretty easy. All right. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go further out in the room over here. We're going to do ones that are a little trickier. Okay, so we're going to go out here in the room. Now, we want to encourage the dog to ideally move out ahead of you. So, once you do a few like we just did, some kind of real easy ones, try to encourage your dog to go out ahead of you. So in order to do that, Steve's going to do most of these when he's in back of me. And he's going to kind of look and point out in front of me and tell me to place. Now, if I happen to go to it, I'll do it perfectly, this one, even though your dog probably won't. He'll stand his ground, let the leash just slide through his hand, and wait for me to go down before he praises me. That would be in the perfect world, but it's good for you at least to see what that looks like.
Mike, place. Good boy. Mike, free.
Good. All right. It's never going to be that easy. Now, what's more likely to happen is he's going to tell me Mike, place, and I might look at him with a blank stare, or might just go a couple of steps and turn around and look at him. If that happens, what he's going to do is he's going to say one no, and he's going to step up and ideally stay behind me and reach out in front of me with his pointer finger and grab the leash as he does that, and just give a little pop forward towards the towards the mat. And if I go at that point, he lets the leash slide through his hands until I finish it.
Mike, place. No, place. Good boy.
Good.
Mike, free.
Good. Okay. And the dog can mess up multiple times. So every time I mess up, he just no, place, and he just goes the minimum amount of distance that he has to to send me forward. And every time I stop, he just takes steps forward just enough to be able to pop me and holds his ground. So on this one, I'll probably end up taking a couple of corrections here.
Mike, place. No, place. No, place. Good boy. Mike, free.
Good. All right. That's how a majority of yours are going to look like when you're doing it with your dog. Now this time, usually after a few repetitions, your dog will actually start responding to the nose sometimes, and if I go up on the no, that's okay. I'm not going to get corrected. I end up beating the correction. So watch how this one goes with Steve.
Mike, place. No. Good boy. Mike, free.
Good. All right. Remember to treat your dog often on these, because I'm not doing these for nothing. You know, your dog will get bored pretty easily doing these. So since there's a lot of little corrections involved, your dog will be more motivated and enjoy learning this while you're giving the dog treats. Remember, you will phase your dog off the treats, but we can't expect this amount of repetition and your dog enjoying to do it unless you throw in a treat. At least on the free, you could even throw it in sometimes as soon as the dog goes down on the place. Mix it up for him. Okay, so this next one, what we're going to do is he's going to tell me place from a distance, and I'm going to be doing well, but then I might just overshoot the mat. If I overshoot the mat, the very moment I overshoot it, he's just going to say one no, and if I don't turn around and go back towards it, he'll say place and give a pop, towards the mat. So let's see how this goes.
By pulling back, correct?
Yep.
Mike, place. No, place. Good boy. Mike, free.
Good. If your dog's having a lot of difficulty with this one, a lot of times it's best to just work on your climb and even your complete sits and downs, because those two exercises put together is what really makes this exercise and should make it really easy for you and your dog at this point. Okay, good. All right. Now, your dog's doing it good. You can start doing different angles. In the beginning, I definitely would say start most of them maybe like 6 foot away from the mat. I'm having Steve go a little further for demo purposes, so I'm more likely to mess up. But set your dog up for success. The first ones would probably be from about this distance. Steve would be sending me, or if he was training the dog. And then if the dog was doing good here, he would start moving further out and different angles from the actual mat. Now, if I don't go down when I get to the mat, Steve just gives a gentle reminder to down. And if I don't listen, even when he gives the reminder to down, then he would just give his no and then down with light corrections. The dogs will learn through repetition just to kind of do this automatically. Sometimes anticipation is good in training, and this is one. So we avoid anticipation when we're doing the sits and downs and push-ups because they stop paying attention to what we're doing. If they always think a down is after a sit or a sit is always after a down. But this is one exercise, when we say place, where we want the dog to think a down is always after the word place. When he gets to the mat, we want the dog to go down. But watch how Steve handles it if I don't go down. He's not going to say my name. It's just he just says the word down, and then it becomes no down. He would just correct me if I don't go down.
Mike, place. No, place. Down. No. Down. Good boy.
Good.
Mike, free.
Good. Okay, good. So it's pretty easy. Notice the calmness in Steve's voice, all right? He's not just being calm to me because I'm sensitive and my feelings get hurt easily. This is how you train the dog. This is how you should be training your dog too. Remember, we're teaching the dog this, all right? This is a new exercise, and you just be patient with your dog. Don't expect the dog to do this around heavy distractions at this point. It's actually pretty easy. It seems kind of complicated, but at this point you have everything you need to make it easy for the dog. We're going to do another one, and we're going to add a few little more things to it. So Steve will send me to the place.
Surprising me. Mike, place. No. Good boy. Good boy.
Good. Now that I'm on here, if your dog's really doing good, really kicking butt with this exercise, you can do things like throw resistance into it, resistance training with the light line. So Steve will do some resistance on me. You can do that, make sure I'm staying there. He could even drop it, walk around the room, sit in a chair. Now, when your dog is on the place, the rules are pretty similar to a climb if the dog laid down on the climb. As long as the dog's elbows are on the mat, they're good. Their paws can come off. And as long as their hips are on, it's okay. Their back paws can come off. But we want the dog to stay on the place until you tell the dog free. So this one's actually pretty easy. It's good to watch some videos with some this being done on some of the other dogs. Do you have anything to add, Steve? Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you pretty much covered it all. I mean, I tend to make that mistake of praising a little early.
And that's not even wrong.
And maybe in the first few steps, I find that maybe the first few times they're on their way there, if they don't seem to get confused, it's helpful.
Yeah.
I guess that's all I could add. And then you could just phase that out and then praise them when they're down. Yeah,
so in summary with the praise, a lot of it's a judgment call. Sometimes the praise is going to help the dog. Sometimes, especially because of the recall, where we praise the dog as the dog's coming to us, a lot of times they'll turn around and look at us when we give the praise because they're associating with petting and the treats and everything like that. But use a judgment call on that. Because depending on the dog, me and Steve, sometimes we will praise when the dog is on their way over. Or sometimes we'll wait when the dog...
Especially if I see the dog really moving over there quickly and emphatically, then I feel more comfortable praising it. If it seems that it's a little hesitant or moving slowly, then I would usually withhold the praise and wait until they finish.
Yeah. Okay. And you'll probably see examples of that in some of the training videos with different dogs and on your own dog. So little trial and error. But you can't go wrong if you're patient. You don't overcorrect the dog. We're using the pinch collar here because the pinch collar is actually all as Steve was given is just kind of like a quick little pop with his wrist. He's not overcorrecting me. It actually helps show the dog, direction. These pinch collars are great if you use them gently. Yep, you just give a little pop to help the dog out. If the dog looks really scared or really nervous in this exercise, you're probably doing something wrong and you want to seek some help or advice. Other than that, I would say this one was a lot easier than I thought. It looks complicated, but easy if you've done your homework and you built up to this point.